What is up, guys? Eric here from BBM Productions with my video on who the winners and losers of these fights at UFC 305 should fight next. And in fact, kind of it's to do with the UFC 307 card, if I'm not mistaken, as well, because there's one fight that's going to fall into that. Let me just get to the athlete rankings for the UFC. Then we can go from there and play matchmaker. So guys, let's start at the top. I think that's a better spot to start. So first with the winners and then with the losers. Okay, so for Dricus du Plessis, obviously Sean Strickland is the guy that's next because Dana White said so, which we can do. It's cool, I don't mind. But guys, we've got to be honest, it should be Robert Whittaker. And it should be the winner of Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev. So let's see when that fight concludes. If Khamzat or Whittaker gets the shot of Strickland, which kind of would make sense. Now, that's the only fight that makes sense. The only fight for DDP. I know a lot of people are like, no, let Pereira come down, which is stupid. And let DDP go up, which is also stupid. Reason why, if he goes up, he's at a massive disadvantage, and yeah, it doesn't make sense right now. Like, yeah, Dricus just defended one time. He himself said he wants to defend more and then go up. That makes a lot more sense, and it seems like he knows he will have to give up the belt at middleweight then. Makes a lot of sense, guys. Right now, it would be stupid to go up and then down like Izzy did, or attempted to, because it's not good for your body, as well as it's not, let me say it like this. I do think DDP has the skills to beat Pereira, but it doesn't make sense right now when you've got another few killers in the division and a few people that could come back, like Strickland. Strickland already has a win, he's waiting there. Robert has a few wins, he's waiting there. If Khamzat beats Robert, he's also waiting there, just a little bit from now. So let's rather let Dricus sort out the whole situation at a middleweight, not cause a log jam like we've seen with other divisions. And also, what will Pereira do if he comes down, gets the belt and goes back up? He will gain nothing. It's just he will have another name on his record, a good name, but still doesn't really mean that much. It doesn't mean more for his legacy than beating Magomed Ankalaev and then going up and fighting for the heavyweight title. Like, guys, what weighs more? Going down to middleweight and beating a guy who just defended his belt once? Just think about that. I understand Dricus' resume, but his resume is not Pereira's. So, what's bigger? Him going up, fighting Jones and maybe beating Jones for the belt? John Jones? Or, I'm sounding like Dana White. Or if he beats Tom Aspinall, the killer at heavyweight. If he does that, it's 10 times more prestigious for him. You understand? And let's say a different scenario. Dricus defense versus Robert, Khamzat, and Strickland. That's a crazy resume already. And then he moves up, or in between this he moves up. And whoever has the championship there at light heavyweight can fight him. You understand? It would make more sense for both fighters. Like if Pereira holds the belt there and Dricus comes up after one or two fights, it would make a lot more sense, because then if Pereira beats Dricus, he has a crazy resume down, and if Dricus beats him, the same thing. It's a more mutual, sensible fight to put together then. Right now, not that much. It doesn't mean that much for either fighter. I know a lot of people are going to argue with me in the comments about this or on the groups, but meh, that's your problem. Next up is Israel Adesanya. So a lot of people were instantly like, nah, he should retire or fight someone way below the rankings and stuff. And I said he should fight the loser of Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev, which is happening soon. Reasoning is because he's on a losing streak, 2 of them, and shouldn't just fight for... he shouldn't fight Strickland, for example, on a win. or fight the loser of the champ who's going to fight for the championship. It's not going to make sense. You should fight somebody also on a L, but at the top, because then he throws himself right back into the mix. Because let's say Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev happens, and Whittaker looks competent versus Khamzat, but Khamzat wins. Then Robert versus Israel makes a lot of sense because of the history, because of Robert arguably winning the rematch. People can argue that. There's a lot of people that do. I'm one of the people that actually believe Izzy won, but it would make more sense. There's a built-in rivalry, built-in history. Now with Khamzat, we've been wanting to see Khamzat versus Izzy for years. Now you get your chance, even if there's a L in between. This is both of these guys' redemption arc, because if Khamzat loses this fight versus Robert Whittaker, then the whole narrative will be he's so inconsistent and now he's lost. Will he get back into title contention, etc.? Will he return to be the Wolf of 2020 or 2021? And with Izzy, it will be, will the Black Dragon return like he did now versus DDP, where it was just not enough? The story's there because of the history of them talking crap to each other and looking out for each other between fights, and then also because of this redemption arc. They can use that and it will build a better fight. It's a lot better than just taking Strickland right now and say fight Izzy after he was supposed to fight for the belt. Although it's a backup situation I can see the UFC pulling. Next up, it's Kai Kara France, and we already know who he's going to have to fight. Like guys say, it really makes sense. Him versus Alexander Pantoja. Pantoja had a hard, bloody time versus Steve Ercik, and Kai put away Steve Ercik in a round. It doesn't make sense if Kai doesn't get his shot. I wanted Kai to actually get his shot years ago versus Moreno or Figgy. I don't remember who had the belt at that time. Crazy time period that with multiple rematches. But I wanted it to happen back then because I'm a big fan of Kai. I did pick against him, but I'm a very big fan. But yeah, I don't want him to fight anybody else. Amir Albazi is there, but man, it's not going to be as fun of a fight as Kai versus Pantoja, especially because their styles clash so well. And as for Steve Ercik, he shouldn't fight somebody on a win. People really must understand that. Steve Ercik versus Manuel Cap could be a fun one. Him versus Matt Schnell. Flyweight's not looking that fresh to me. Maybe just, but he can't fight up if he's lost. It sometimes just doesn't make sense. Guys, on this one, I'm really not sure. Damn, it's an empty division actually. It's really strange. There's a lot of guys at 5'5", 5'6" and below. Although, the cap is usually 5'6". Steve Ercik is like a outlier in height. That's why I'm saying 5'6" and below. So 5'5.5", let me say like that. 5'1.5", small framed guys that can fight. There's a lot of these guys. I know a lot of these guys in person. So it's strange that the flyweight division is so sparse right now, and the landscape's a bit dry because Tatsuhiro is there. Kai, Amir, Makayev was there. Now he's gone. It would have been fine if that happened, but yeah, I say Steve Ercik versus Manuel Cap is the only thing that makes sense to me. Or poor Tim Elliott, he will lose. Okay, yeah, we're moving on from that fight. Next was Dan Hooker versus Matthews Gamrot. Let me just get lightweight this side. Okay, guys, I'm gonna have to move here for a moment. All right, Dan Hooker just beat number 5. He beat number 5, which is quite interesting because who you put him against now? Because a lot of people are like, oh, Justin Gaethje. I think we should put him up against Charles Oliveira, and here's my argument for it. Dan Hooker does better when he knows he has to do a technical fight compared to when he knows he has to do a war. Good example is the Michael Chandler fight. He thought was going to be a war, and he got clipped and slept. When he fought Dustin Poirier, he just wore it out because the mindset was there that it's just a wall and he'll break that person when it's not how it's supposed to be. But every other time when he's fighting a guy that's slightly technical but gets in technical wars like Oliveira, he levels up. Like this fight was like a perfect example of that, of him leveling up with his takedown defense and everything essentially. He looks a lot better than he used to. In some ways, I'll say it like that. So Charles Oliveira is a better fight than him versus Gaethje because I can see Gaethje just sleeping him, even if Gaethje's chin is still recovering from the Max Holloway knockout. Still, I see Gaethje just being too much for him because Gaethje fights a bit more technical than Dan right now. And he hits like a freaking truck. He hits just as hard, if not harder, than Michael Chandler in some ways. So I would not want that fight to happen. I really like Charles Oliveira versus Dan Hooker because Dan is now fully in the mix again. Something that I remember when his downfall started for a while, I was like, man, it feels so sad because of the war. It was post-war with Dustin Poirier where I was like, man, this was cool. His reign, well, his climb was awesome to see. All of these guys' climbs. Like, yeah. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, no, why not Dustin Poirier? Well, to me, to be honest, I don't know if Dustin's fully in it, and then he'll lose this fight just because he's not fully in it anymore. I don't know. I think Dustin should go to welterweight. He has a fight versus Colby there, especially because Colby's just falling off a cliff right now. I would really say, like, I wish the UFC just told him, like, listen, we'll give you a good amount of money to fight this dude. Let's just do it. Just try it. And that would be a good fight as well. But yeah, I want to see Charles Oliveira versus Matthews Gamrot. Next up, guys, I think heavyweight's down here. Yeah. There's obviously Biggie Boy that defeated Taito Ivasa. Where was Biggie Boy? He was number 12. I didn't know he was that deep down. Now he's back up to 10. This is also a problem. I think he should fight Sergey Spivak. Yes. Spivak or Almeida, if Almeida doesn't have a fight. I could have sworn he has a fight. Yeah, those are the two fights I would give Biggie Boy Rosenstrike that just won versus Ty. And for Taito Ivasa, this is a hard one because, again, this part of the vision, you can't let him fight up. It's stupid. Doesn't make sense a lot of times. Maybe Curtis Blades, if he wants to fight up. I don't know what they're going to do with Curtis because, yeah, he got hurt bad versus Tom Aspinall. Maybe Pavlovich, if they haven't fought. I don't know if they have fought. Okay, guys. That one's just a mess. So I just want to go over it with DDP versus Izzy. Kai versus Steve Erceg. Dan Hooker versus Matthews Gamrot. Oh, last one was Carlos Pratis versus Li Jingeling. I'm going to call him that because it's actually a cool name to call him, like a nickname. And we're in Bilal's division. Crazy. Where was Lee even ranked? Was he even ranked at all? Oh, no. He wasn't. Then anybody just outside of the top 15. Or, yeah, for Carlos Pratis and for Lee, I honestly think he should, like, say, I'm gonna cut this. Like, this was not fun to watch. I'll just say it like that. It really wasn't fun to watch. Yeah, and then, guys, I'm gonna make my reaction one shot as well on the Khalil Roundtree versus Alex Pereira announcement. Odd announcement. However, I understand why the UFC made it because of the quote-unquote win streak that Khalil is on. And it just seems like something happened in the negotiations. It really didn't make sense. So somebody said, nah, I'm not fighting Pereira now, or I'm injured, or something like that. And then the UFC was like, all right, we'll give it to the next guy, like they used to do. And honestly, it's going to be an okay fight. It's just, I really think that Khalil is too open in some ways, and he has a mental situation where he's either the most violent and awesome fighter to watch, and then other times he's a bit hesitant, and then he loses, and his willpower just breaks as well. That's something that bothers me about him. I like seeing him fight, but it happens often. So I just hope that the technicalities from Pereira doesn't just instantly make him melt, because it can happen, guys. And then 2 rounds max. Yeah, within 2 rounds. If he survives somehow and he does something different, I'd be so shocked. Imagine, guys, he wins. It throws the whole division off. Like, wait, let's go through that real quick. Imagine Khalil starches Alex. Like, he beats the brakes off him for a round, and Pereira's like between rounds, and we're all just like scared and screaming because obviously we like Alex as a champion. He just has an awesome aura to him. That's not playing into the aura jokes and stuff. So let's say Khalil just won. Yuri had just lost. He wants to get back in the game. Magomed is going versus Olberg, if I'm not mistaken. Where the hell is Olberg here? Oh yeah, poor Magomed Ankalaev, because the winner of that fight is probably going to be next. Yeah, and then Jamal Hill, he lost. If Alex loses and Jamal is still there, then that's a rematch to make, just because of the bad blood, for fun. But yeah, that would throw the whole division off again. Who else is on a win streak? Reyes got his win. Reyes, we need him to fight somebody else that he can beat in the top 15, just to slowly build him up again. Because I like Dominic Reyes. I still think Reyes should have said, hey, I'm going to take a full year and a half to get my body down to middleweight, because he's not that big. If you really go look at some of his other fights, like, I've slowly noticed that most of the older, I'm going to say it like this, Reyes was in the middle between the new generation of light heavyweights and the old generation. And you can see these guys, the smaller guys, slowly started to fall off like this, because they weren't really full-blown light heavyweights in size. And that's why guys like Pereira, that came up as a big freaking man, just filled out. People were like, oh, this is the size of a proper light heavyweight. Magomed Ankalaev, Johnny Walker's kind of there. Uzdemir, definitely in his body weight, definitely is very thickly built. Rakic is also huge. Jan Blachowicz. Just lengthwise, Jan is not that big, but he's built big. Then Jamal is also a big guy. And Yuri is a giant, actually. Just a thin giant. That's why he's thinking about going down, because what Drickus told him was true. He's walking around at a lighter weight, and I think in part that's because of him keeping his cardio in check. So I don't know, if Khalil wins, this whole situation is just going crazy, because then the belt's going to be juggled again, unless Pereira just says, I want my rematch because I've been destroying people, I really deserve it. So yeah, guys, if Pereira beats Khalil, then Ankalaev should be next. It should be nobody else. Ankalaev has a good record up till this point, if he beats Olberg. Like, yeah. So, yeah, guys, I'm gonna say goodbye. I'll post this tomorrow morning. Yeah. Cheers, guys. Have a good one.